Hi, ladies. So it's Sarah Jane West Watson here, and I have a business called Fit Fanny Adams, which is really all about women's health and fitness. And I'm absolutely passionate about that because women's bodies are very different to men's. We're not just more petite versions of them. So we need to be treating our bodies very differently. And ultimately, when illness, disease, dysfunction strikes, we need to be taking even more care of ourselves than we would normally. So I put together this little short video, which is based on really just trying to answer a couple of questions that are common around recovery from not just womb cancer, but any type of cancer. As you guys know, probably more so than myself, these things are not simple, they're complex and multifaceted. So just sort of categorising things into one box isn't always the simple way of doing things. So this is a generic. Feel free to come back to me with any questions. I'm more than happy to help any questions that I can. If you've got loads more questions and I haven't covered the topics that you want, harangue me again. This is a no holes barred conversation. So I've got a little list of some things that commonly I get asked, and most people are really keen to get back to exercise, typically because the fear of putting on weight if a hysterectomy has happened. And there's a couple of basics that I kind of just really think it's important that every woman should know is, number one, surgery, but particularly hysterectomy, is a big operation. So this means your exercise in the early days is healing. Totally and utterly. You need a good foundation. You want to be strong going forwards. So healing is the most important. So spend the first, certainly 6 to 12 weeks, really thinking of good nutrition, really good cell rebuilding nutritional things like your fats, your good fats, fat that you eat, the macronutrient fat, has no relation to the fat that hangs on our body. Okay, so don't go, oh my goodness, I can't have avocado, I can't have eggs, I can't have full fat milk, I can't have this stuff because it's just going to layer on me. Fat is important for cell health, particularly brain function. So cognitively, if you're feeling a bit more sluggish or a bit fuzzy, then increase your fats, particularly around your omega-3s, omega-6s. It's brilliant. So getting that whole fat, your organic eggs, eat the yolks, avocados, your full fat milk, absolutely. We're not saying go overboard on them, but think getting that good, strong foundation from what you're eating. So diversified from exercise already. So where I'm going with this, so in the early days, good nutrition, good pelvic health. So what do I mean by that? Keep off your pelvic floor. The easiest way to do that is not to stand for long periods, not to walk for long periods, not to do a lot of straining, stressing, lifting. So give your pelvic floor a rest. If you think of your pelvic floor as the base of your internal carrier bag holding all your abdominal contents, if we're doing a lot of weight, then anything that is low and at the bottom of that carrier bag is going to get compromised. So take the weight off it in the early days. When you're feeling a little bit more up to it and you've got your consultants okay to return to exercise and obviously taking on board any limitations that they've suggested, then start small. Try some gentle walking. There is no one size fits all to this. For some people, simply getting up and have a 3 to 5 minute walk around the block, around the back garden, might be like a monumental milestone. For others, it might be going back to doing a decent walk with a dog. There is no right or wrong. Listen to your body. Massively listen to your body. If you start doing something and it doesn't feel right, note there is a difference between not feeling right and just feeling, oh, that's quite hard work. Then back off, kind of go, right, that's it for now. I might try something different, or I might just try it again tomorrow and see if it's feeling any different. So start nice and small. Bone integrity and bone strength is absolutely paramount. So you want to be building good, strong bones. So intense weight-bearing exercises are really, really key, which is why walking is fabulous. Things where you start doing at a higher impact, so it might be the old HIIT class, it might be some sort of Zumba, I would really leave for later. Make sure that your body and your pelvic health, your core is taking an absolute battering. So make sure that you can really do the foundations well, and then say, right, in the longer term, that's maybe where I'm trying to get to, but cautiously. So I would really start small. Get yourself up, get yourself do some weight bearing. If walking is still too much for you, then doing some low impact through the swimming pool. So maybe walking in the swimming pool, so you've got gravity assistance and buoyancy assisting you in the pool. That's a fabulous way to get a little bit of resistance on the arms and the legs whilst getting the body supported. So that's also a great return to exercise. Doing some gentle conditioning, so strength training is really, really good. Why? Muscles burn calories while they're doing nothing, which means that for people who are conscious about weight, the higher your metabolic rate and the more tone that you have in your muscles, the more that your metabolic rate increases, and it's speeding up that metabolism, burning calories while sitting doing nothing. So some gentle resistance work is fabulous. You don't need any equipment at all. All of my classes they happen, let me see if I can show you. There's my wonderful little studio. We don't have weights, we don't have kettlebells, we don't have anything. We have a few bands, but we don't really use them as the absolute must in what we do. Your body is a fabulous weight, use it. So when's it safe? So start doing stuff nice and slowly afterwards. How to start, I think we've covered off a little bit. I think also it's really important on your how to start is to say that returning to exercise post a traumatic event, an illness, post surgery is not necessarily a linear process, i.e. every day you might not make improvements. Your body is going to fluctuate. As you guys well know, you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. I would really say on those days where you're not having a great day, listen to what your body is wanting. Go back to a bit of nurturing, going back into taking it easy, maybe just doing some sitting, some meditation, some breathing is actually doing your body more restorative good than pushing it for a walk or going to the gym or a pool session. So your body is complex. Your body doesn't just need to be strong, it needs to be well, and it needs to be integrated in a whole balanced approach. So definitely listen to it. Breathing post-hysterectomy, I always go on about breathing because breathing is so important. So breathing is really important because typically during your operation, if you have had a full hysterectomy, then what happens is our legs end up way up here and our hips end up here, and our poor little chest is way down there. So that means the weight of our abdominal content sits on our diaphragm. So our diaphragm gets somewhat kind of stuck up here again, and often people sort of say they feel like they can't get a deep breath post-op. So we always start with the breath, and I always make sure that every single lady that comes in here, we teach her how to breathe again. So how do you do that? Well, we take everything out of the chest and we put it back in the belly, and we take it right down into the lower chambers of our pelvic cavity. So to do that, just start to feel, in the first instance, the weight of your bottom on the chair that you sat on. And as you're feeling that weight of your bottom on the chair, just let all this busyness, everything from the head, just start to sink down. Now when you're doing that, just do what is quite uncomfortable for some people. Let your tummy just hang out. Let it go completely. You might find that it really doesn't quite like to go because it feels like it should be tucked in, but just let it go completely. Now when you've let that belly go, you might need to undo the top button of your trousers. Let your pelvic floor release. And now again, just mindfully take that awareness back down to that lower pelvic cavity. And you feel how it's sort of starting to feel like it's expanding in every direction. Okay, so from there, all I'm going to get you to do is just to subtly, so I'm talking about maybe a 5 or a 10% contraction here, just start to re-engage some of those muscles and then let them go again. So when you're engaging those muscles, just slightly feel that lift in the undercarriage wrapping around to that lower abdomen just below the umbilicus, and let it go again. So now we're going to incorporate that in with an exhale. So just release the belly, take a nice little breath in here. So just subtly get that lift, and we're going to increase that lift as we exhale the air out. Release as we breathe in, and subtly engage and exhale as we lift that pelvic floor and those lower abs. Breathing in and exhaling, lifting. So carry on there, and as you're just carrying on there with your lift and lower, so we lift the pelvic floor as we're exhaling and allow it to naturally expand as we inhale. So once you've got the hang of that, just start to take it wider. So feel under the ribs, that width of the rib cage as you breathe in. Expand that rib cage out. And as we're exhaling, feel the ribs squeezing together to push the air out. Breathing in and exhaling out. So what you should feel is, you should feel now that the whole area below the chest is actually starting to become involved in breathing, which is the first and most important stage of restoring the functional core. So if you can't master that, then keep focusing on it, and certainly don't push yourself to more high intensity or core exercises until you're doing that, because you're likely to get everything a little bit more out of sync. So pelvic floor exercises, Kegels post-op. We tie them in with a breath, which is quite nice. So, lack of preparation. So pelvic floor exercises. This is my friendly pelvis. I should probably name her, but I haven't already. Suggestions on a postcard, please. So this is my lovely pelvis. It has got a fabulous muscle at the base. This is a big sling muscle. It's the base of our carrier bag muscle. So it's the base of our pelvic floor. And then from there, what we have is we have our two sphincters. We have our anal sphincter, and we have the area of the vagina, which most people focus on for their pelvic health. What I'm going to say is I'm going to get you to forget that, okay? And I'm going to get you to get the bulk of your focus on this fabulous sling muscle. So some people kind of think of it as the undercarriage, the perineum, whatever it may be, your base of your carry bag. I want you to think about it from the base of the spine that comes down to the tailbone, wraps the whole way underneath, and widthways as well. So think where your sitting bones are, spans the whole of that area, all the way to the pubic bone at the front. So that pubic bone at the front is right about there on yourselves. So what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you just to close your eyes, go back to that breath that we've been doing, and I'm going to get you just to focus your attention on your anal sphincter. So I'm going to get you to visualise that you've got a P at the entrance to your anal sphincter, and I'm going to get you to focus on that circular muscle around it and start to squeeze that P. So as you tighten around that P the whole way round, this is at the anus only. Get a full contraction and then lift that P into the rectum. Hold that lift there. Just try and see how the rest of the pelvic floor is. So you want to be able to isolate the different areas independently. So feel that you can get that lift as you're letting go of different areas. Okay, and releasing. So now we're going to take that attention forward. So we're going to take the attention forwards to the entrance to the vagina. And we're going to get your P now back at the entrance to the vagina. So start now to squeeze around the entrance. all the way around. Okay, and when you're ready, on your next exhale, we're going to lift that feet up into the vagina. Now, I'm not really worried at this stage as to whether or not you're going up to floor 5, floor 3 or floor 2. Frankly, I'm worried about whether or not you can get that engagement, particularly up into the back passage. You can then work on how strong that lift is, but it's the quality of movement, not the strength of the movement, that's important. So you get your lift into that rear passage, get that lift into the front passage. Now when you're ready, take a nice breath in, and I'm going to get you to pull the whole of that carrier bag muscle from the tailbone forwards to the pubic bone. Just start to lift that one up and inwards as you exhale too. Keep that tension on, breathe in, re-engage, retighten that muscle, and exhale, squeeze and lift it in every direction. So start to pull the sitting bones towards each other, not squeezing the bottom. Pull those sitting bones together, pull that front back to back left, all in every direction, diagonal. Get that tight in that perineum. And now when you're ready, completely let it go. Great. You might be like, what just happened? I don't really feel like anything happened. Or you might be like, oh yeah, that was all right. Keep working at it. Keep working at it. The areas that you struggle to connect with are the areas that you need to focus on more. So if you're one of those people that has been over squeezing the vagina and doing your vaginal lifts, but it's like, well, nothing goes on when I'm trying to lift into my rectum, then start in the rectum. Because the bulk of our pelvic floor muscles, can you see in here? I need a little torch. Because the bulk of our pelvic floor muscle is posterior to the vagina, we need to be focusing on lifting from the back, the tailbone forwards. Otherwise, we're going to miss the bulk of our pelvic floor. So how then do you do these? When do you do them? How often? Should you sit and squeeze? Again, this comes back to my an adage that is very close to me, and I say it an awful lot. Quality, not quantity. Sitting in a car doing squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release tends to over-sensitize the bladder and often can cause things like urge incontinence or hypersensitivity in the bladder. So be very careful. It's about doing things mindfully. If you're doing any sort of standing, so let's get ourselves standing up. If we get ourselves standing up now, then just think about how you want to be engaging the pelvic floor here. So when you're standing, get that lift from that tailbone forwards and feel the pelvic floor muscles supporting your innards. Release it off. Come back to it. So if you find yourself walking down the street on one of your early walks down to the post box, but every time you go there you get distracted by someone having a chat, start to engage. Start to engage and think, actually, am I stood engaged or am I stood relaxed and let go? As you're filling the car with petrol, get yourself engaged. As you're waiting for the kettle to boil, get yourself engaged. As we're bending down to pick something off the floor, engage, and then keep it engaged as we stand back up. So what we're learning to do is we're learning to incorporate the pelvic floor into bigger functional movements, which ultimately is the most critical thing to core restoration. Okay, it's not about your six pack, it's about engaging the whole of the core functionally. So we've done a bit of a whistle stop. I'm sure I missed an awful lot. Oh, I can't even go without saying hydrate. Tissues need fluid. They really, 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 really need fluid, particularly healing tissues, particularly being under anaesthetic, particularly if you've been under anaesthetic. So what I must say is hydration is absolutely paramount to healing. Your collagen is majority water. It needs water, good quality hydration. I say start the day with an internal bath as well as an external shower. Your internal bath is a good 200-300 mils of water. Get the toxins flushing out the body. Anything else that you want to know, ladies, I will be absolutely privileged to help and address if I can. If I can't, I will always try and research or send you to someone else who can. Feel free to contact me directly at fitfannyadams.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at fitfannyadams. And anything else that you want to know, just let me know and I can tailor something to you ladies. Take care and keep strong, keep